Episode 103.
Wow, 103, huh?
103.
Look at that.
I don't know.
Hello, Vinny.
Can we like start saying like 03? Are we allowed to say that or not?
How are we doing? I'm just letting this rock out.
Let it rock a little bit. Not like a little bump
Hold on.
on a Tuesday rainy afternoon. How you been?
Yeah, terrible weather here, man. Woo.
How you feeling? You feeling good?
I feel good. Yeah, a lot of sports going on.
Some allergies going on, but
I did have some allergies.
You feel better.
But I was talking to some people on my job in Atlanta. They said they get some really bad pollen.
Yeah.
And it's every year. They say they have it really bad. And it's actually a thing there where it's discussed before people move there. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah, they have like those, I forget like the exact numbers. Don't quote me on the numbers, but let's just say like 600's high for pollen. They're at like 10,000. And I know that like it's like it's like a crazy number because some of my old colleagues work down there and they used to tell me like it was like snow, the amount of pollen that we get on their cars. And
it's like they say it's green all over the cars, like all over.
Yeah, I would die.
Yeah. I was telling Vin, to our audience, yes, it was April Fool's yesterday, and I found this old Nick clip.
the Clyde one, right?
And sent it out to some people, but this was great. So it was 1997, and Mr. Frazier, the great Clyde, was 52 years old. It was around April, so they were getting ready for the playoffs. And they had this April Fool's where he was coming out of retirement. And I'll tell you, like watching that clip, it was so professional. And just seeing the interviews, if go on YouTube, just type in Clyde Frazier April Fool's, and you'll get a laugh because at that time, Marv Albert and John Andres were doing the announcing. Ernie Grunfeld was the president of the team, and they just it was just great seeing the interviews and then seeing Clyde go on. And I think Van Gundy went on and said, yeah, this is good. Something like, he hasn't played since the 60s. So it was just, I think he knew it was kind of like messed up. But of course, Van Gundy made that comment. But definitely take a look at that for sure.
Yeah, it's always fun April Fool's Day, as long as people realize it's April Fool's and not take a lot of stuff too seriously.
Wasn't there another one with the Mets years ago? What was that?
It was Sports Illustrated did an article on this pitcher. And I don't remember his name or anything.
Yeah.
But they were saying he threw 110 miles an hour. Yeah. He was on some farm. He pitched with like no cleats. Like they had like this whole big thing about him. I forget his name and all that.
I'm trying to look it up now.
Yeah, but there was
Sid Finch.
That's it. Sid Finch. Yeah, but somewhere in the article, if you take away certain like it tells you to take away letters, and it says April Fools or something like that. Yeah, Sid Finch. That's what it was. Yeah, 110-mile-an-hour fastball. New big prospect coming up. I think it was the time that Gooden and Strawberry were.
Yeah, I think it was like 85 or 86. So that was the.
Yeah, so the Sports Illustrated did a whole piece on it.
Oh, that's great.
So let's say hi to KKFI in Kansas City. Hope you guys are doing well out there. Your Royals. I know you're still on your Chiefs high, but we'll get into football.
By the way, Andy Reid threw the first pitch on the Royals games. Yeah, he threw a strike. He did good.
Yeah,
make KC proud.
Big Red out there. They just signed Carson Wentz as their backup quarterback. That guy will never go away.
No, he does not go away.
And of course, go to our website, vinandmikepodcast.com. Go on to the shop, buy a shirt, buy a sticker, buy something. All proceeds go to a charity. Thank you for everyone that is.
Thank you very much.
Bought something through the last year, I think. I think we've had the site for close to a year, so if not more. So pretty cool stuff out there. All right, Mike.
Yes, sir.
New York Knicks basketball. You did talk Clyde Frazier, but let's go to the modern day Knicks, the 44-30 team, which I didn't know if this team would win 50 games this year. They have an outside shot of still getting there.
Yeah.
Right now, they're essentially tied for the third seed. They're the fourth because of one more game in Cleveland's favor, but same in the loss column. So essentially tied for third. 3 out of the 2 seed. I don't know if they're going to get there now. I think they had their little chance here with this little 2-game slide that we hit. It's been some tough losses these last 2, but Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart. You could go down the list of guys, right? I know you'll go more into the details of each one, but fantastic season, really hyped going into the playoffs. Hopefully we get Anunoby and Julius back, Mitchell Robinson's, back. Hopefully he stays healthy. But it's been exciting. I think this team, if we can get Anunoby and Randall back, I think they really have a shot of going at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't be happier how the season has gone thus far. I mean, the Knicks have had so many injuries, so many lineup changes, trades in the middle of the season. So, people are talking about the injuries, but you got to remember the trade that was given, and you have to build up the chemistry. And then obviously some of those people like Anunoby, who was part of that trade, has been out on injury. So you're dealing with a very short-staffed team right now, and that's why you're seeing people like Josh Hart play all 48 minutes, and eventually it's gonna wear on you. So that's why it's so important with Julius Randle and OG. Excuse me, I was saying OG Anunoby. These guys have to come back, right? I still think the Knicks could be a contender without them, but as Vinny said, I think to get to the conference finals and have that chance of playing the Celtics, you need a fully clear roster. But this team plays with heart every night, Vinny. We saw that in the Spurs game, and unfortunately it was a loss, but it was exciting. And the Knicks just played a very poor first half. They were down by 21, but you saw them come back, and every game they're in it. They work hard. They don't give up. Josh Hart, getting back to him, that guy's after every rebound. And you know what? He's not a big guy, but he's there for every play. He hustles. How great has Deuce McBride been? He's somebody that was considered a role player, and essentially he's come out with some great games of double figures, and sometimes like in the 20-25 point mark, right? Yep. Mitchell Robinson's back. Precious Achiuwa, who no one really spoke about, has been a shining light for the team. DiVincenzo, he set the record for team 3-pointers in the season, and when he's on, he's amazing. So this team has a lot of talent. It's been fun to watch, but we just gotta get these guys back and compete in the playoffs. I know there's been a lot of talk about when this is going to happen. There's no definitive date right now, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. That's it. We got 8 games left. So I agree with you. I think the second seed is far-fetched. So I think the Knicks will fall 3, 4, or 5. I think it's really crucial that we get the 3rd or 4th spot because that indicates home court advantage. So really got to hope for that. And that's where we are right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly where we are. And I just like the way DiVincenzo's been playing. He set the record for 3-pointers, in a game for a Knick, for the season for a Knick.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Hart's been fantastic, but it really comes down to getting Anunoby and Randall back. I wasn't a big fan of the Anunoby trade, but when he's been on the court, he's done all the things that we need him to do. We know what Julius Randle is. We need that second guy to really it gives Brunson some time away from feeling like he has to score 60 a night, right? Like he puts up 61 the other night and they lose. So it feels like a useless 61 points. essentially, right? But he wouldn't have to put up 61 points if Randall's out there. As good as DiVincenzo and Hart have been playing and putting up points, and like you said, McBride's been putting up points. It's not the same as the Randall being out there, a guy that averages 20 plus a game and can give you a 20-10 every night. So I think that's what we're missing. I've seen clips of him practicing, shooting, and all that stuff. So he looks like he's getting ready to come back. I think probably the big thing is the actual contact that they're most worried about, making sure he can take a shot to that shoulder and be able to continue to progress as we go here.
I'll tell you something, too. You want to talk about a leader of Jalen Brunson. Press asked him, what did that 61 points mean to you? He didn't want to talk about it because they lost. What's more important to him is winning. How does this team win every night, right? Yeah. So that just shows his maturity and leadership, right? He's a winner. He's proven that game after game. But you're absolutely right. Like, you can't expect that kind of output from him. But everyone's been stepping up their minutes because of these injuries, right? And I think once they get some more balance, it's going to be so much more effective, and they'll have a long-term playoff. I mean, that's what we're hoping. So,
I tell you, I like that video you sent me this morning on Jalen Brunson when he just left Villanova, when he first went to Dallas, and Jay Wright, dedicated that whole little monument or museum to him. But how he spoke about him as the player and how everyone doubted him, like he's not going to be able to make those kind of shots he made in high school and college. He can't drive to the hole like that. He's too small. He's and it's in the NBA too, right? He's not going to be able to play that kind of game in the NBA. He's too small, and he keeps doing it, right? He keeps overachieving essentially. But for him, it's what he wants to do, and he essentially put in in his head that he was going to win an NCAA championship. He was going to win Big East Player of the Year. He was going to do all this stuff. So hopefully that mindset, which I know it's still there, it rolls into the NBA, into a Knicks championship. I mean, this guy is essentially putting himself in place that he's going to do everything in his power to win a championship. So I'm hoping they put the right pieces around him. I got to give Leon Rose a lot of credit. We kill GMs around here. We kill upper management around here, ownerships around here, right? We have no problem throwing everyone under the bus, but Leon Rose has really put together a good team, getting Jalen Brunson, the trades that he's made over the last 2 years, right? The Josh Hart trade, the Anobi trade, bringing in Bojanovic, all the little things, right? You got to give him a lot of credit because his team is an upper seed team in the East, no matter which way you look at it, and they have a really good shot of making some noise in the playoffs this year.
And what's better in New York City springtime than having both the Rangers and the Knicks in the playoffs? There's nothing like it.
And when you get into June, and if they're both still playing in June, and you got the Yankees heating up and the Mets heating up, and the NFL, draft is gone, and your Giants and Jets made some good moves in the offseason, and you're happy with that, it becomes this whole big swell of fandom in New York. You know that, and it's really always run by the Garden. As much as probably the Yankees are the number one team in New York, and the Giants are, this big fan base, there's something about Garden sports, and we talk about it all the time, but there really is. When the Knicks and Rangers are good, there's some real crazy buzz all throughout New York a city, right? You come out of Penn Station, you come out of Grand Central Station, you come out of the World Trade Center path. No matter where you come out,
I'm gonna give our friend Victor a plug. You come out of Turntable.
Come out of Turntable. That buzz is that Garden Sports, right?
Yeah.
Well,
there's nothing like it, and
yeah.
I don't know. I just get reminiscent of 1994. I mean, I could watch that documentary over and over again.
Yeah.
Mark Messier, Patrick Ewing, Ranger fans and Knicks fans unite. I mean, there was nothing like it. The Knicks finally beat the Bulls, got over that hurdle. There was a picture of Patrick Ewing hugging a fan. Garden was so electric. And then the Rangers, who didn't win a cup in 40 years, 44 years, 1940. I mean, incredible.
Yeah, it was an amazing time. And then in between it all, you had the craziest sports murder that occurred or what was going on with O.J. Simpson, right? Like probably like one of the biggest names in sports right at the time. And during the Knicks game,
Game 5.
They interrupted to show him in a white Bronco being chased by the police officers.
When we hear Bob Costas talk about it, it's great because they didn't know what to do. Like, as far as the split screen and how they do things, you're covering the NBA Finals, so people were going people weren't paying attention to the Knicks game. They were going to the lobby and watching this OJ thing. Like, it was just. It took away a lot from the finals for sure.
Yeah, it did. A lot of the hype of that game, but after the whole thing came to an end and it settled, the sports, of course, took over again. But it was 94 was just a very unique year, and it really started. If you think about it, that was baseball strike that year, right? The Yankees were finally starting to get better. The strike hit. Then you didn't know if baseball was coming back. The Knicks, started fading away. The Rangers started fading, and then all of a sudden the Yankees, came back in '96. So that '94, really started getting us going to where we had a lot of success in New York in this short amount of time, right? Even the Giants got back to the Super Bowl towards the end of the 90s, right, against the Ravens in 2000.
And the Jets did with Parcells at the end of the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, even the Jets were good.
The Jets were up there after the awful Kotite years of the 90s.
Yeah, it was all in there, You know
what's crazy? The Knicks, it was how they built themselves up back then, right? Pat Riley comes in as a coach.
Yeah.
The whole regime changes. They become a defensive team. It's all defense, right? And you watch highlights now and then, and what's a foul now and what was a foul then, you laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But he comes in 91, 92. At that time, the Knicks, they needed a whole revamp. So then you got the X-Man, right? You still had Mark Jackson at that point. You had Gerald Wilkins still at that point. But you added players like Anthony Mason, right? And Greg Anthony and this caliber, right? And you had Oakley and Ewing, of course. And I remember when they played Detroit in the first round, the Bad Boys, and Detroit was actually at the end of that game, there's a highlight of Bill Laimbeer, of all people, shaking Pat Riley's hand in the locker room because they knew they were passing a torch to this potential contender, the Knicks, right? And then they went on to play the Bulls, and everyone thought the Bulls were going to sweep the Knicks. They won the championship the year before against the Lakers, and the Knicks brought them to 7 games that year. That's coaching. That's Mr. Riley right there. What he built in New York, 91, 92. Then in 92, 93, it was a shame because they won 60 games that year. people thought they were going to go to the championship that year, and the Bulls just won 4 in a row in the playoffs. That was the Charles Smith awful play. And then finally they got their chance in 94 when Jordan was retired, played the Rockets and lost. And then 95, I think we lost to the Pacers. So, I mean, it was there. The team was assembled, right? So I don't know, a lot of good memories of that team.
The 92-93 with the Charles Smith, not Duncan. Did they win game 1 of that in Chicago? Was that the year they won game 1?
The Knicks won game 1 and 2 in 92-93. They won. They had home court advantage.
What was the year they won in Chicago game 1? Was it the year before that or the year after that?
That was in 91-92.
Was.
So that's why they made a surprise. They stole that first game in Chicago. And then each home game after that was split until game 7. You're not going to win a game 7 in Chicago with that atmosphere, right?
That was tough. Yeah, that run I remember, because when they won game 1, I was like, oh, we got a real shot here. We got a real shot.
I think I love the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel, man. Him and Oakley together was great, but they got rid of him that next year. He was only there for 1 season. So I forgot who they traded him for. I'll have to look into that. But the X-Man was great. He was fun to watch.
He was a wild dude.
Mason, I mean, these guys.
That was the Knicks team that you wanted to take on the football field with you.
Yeah. And Riley had that thing. I read the book. He wouldn't let his team shake hands. They just played the game, right? And that's it. It was all business. Every game.
I wish they could have found that one extra guy, just the one that could have scored a little bit more with Patrick. Starks did enough, and Derek Harper, Orlando Blackman did enough, and Oakley did enough, but they weren't essentially that superstar kind of scorer that they needed to go along with Patrick, especially in those games where Patrick's not going to have the best game, where they're going to just double him. You just needed that one little bit more, just a little bit more somewhere.
Yeah, it was, but those like 4 or 5 years were special. I mean, like they competed every year, and you know what? With this Knicks team, it's a little bit different.
Let's go
now.
Let's get back.
It's just like you get those vibes back. Like they're playing hard every night. They're in pretty much every game. You have Jalen Brunson, who's is just like he's off the charts what he's doing.
He's going to get MVP votes. He has to. I'm not saying he should win, but he has to be in consideration. Has to be.
He's right up there.
Right? I mean, and you look at the top teams, right? Boston, Tatum, right?
Yep.
Milwaukee, Giannis,
yeah.
Denver, of course, is always
the Joker.
SGA over there in OKC. That he's like Jalen Brunson, West Coast, right? Or Western Conference. I can't even say West Coast because Oklahoma is in the middle of the country. But he's got to be right there with all those guys, like every one of them.
Yeah, and then everyone's asking me, who do you want the Knicks to play the first round? And the one team that really scares me right now are the Indiana Pacers. I'm not going to lie. I think that they're a team that's really well represented.
What seed are they right now?
They're 6 right now.
So if the Knicks get to 3, then they would have to play them.
Correct.
But they have to get to 3.
Halliburton is he's another one, right?
But you got to get to 3 for Boston before the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
So
let's get Miami back. Let's have a rematch with them and beat them.
I'd just rather play Cleveland again. I just think we match up very well against Cleveland.
We do. And that's the funny part, with the whole Cleveland. We all talked about Donovan Mitchell when that first happened. We were all upset.
Yeah.
and become a Knick. And I was listen, I'll admit it. I was one of those people. I want him to come to New York. And I never said a bad thing about Jalen. I knew he was a good player. I did not know he would be this great. I really didn't. I don't think
there's not a single person that liked that trade or disliked that trade. That free agent signing that would think he was this good. There's not a single person. I don't care who it is. Not even Leon Rose or Thibodeau thought he was going to be this good. There's no way. He's just a different player right now. He's one of the top 10 players in the NBA right now.
Yeah. He's the way he gets past the defense. He has that little, he has that floater shot. It's one of the best in the game.
Yeah.
It's almost automatic. It really is.
I know. He's averaging what, 28 points a game?
Like 27, 28 a game.
And he's playing in New York. That's the thing that everyone has to remember. There is 8 million Knicks fans within 20 miles of this guy. This is not Dallas. This is not Denver. This is not even Golden State. You know what I mean? This is New York. There's so much talk and pressure and constant media hype. The amount of media alone that's in the locker rooms, or more people in the media than there in these cities that are throughout the NBA. So you're doing it in a place where there's constant scrutiny, constant attention, and even if you have one bad game, you know how it is. Everyone comes down on you.
Yeah, and we'll get to some of those other New York teams in a second. But one of the things that also is so appreciated about Brunson is someone had asked him about that, the very thing you're saying, Vin, as far as the media in New York facing the pressure. He goes, I don't feel like that at all. He goes, I just play the game.
The way you got to be.
You know what? That video that I sent you today, that's the whole fundamentals of how he grew up, what he was taught, how to do things. A person that, as you said, never going to make it in college.
Yeah.
Not going to be, not that he wouldn't make the pros, but he would be as successful. So whatever he's told he can't do, he wants to be that much better. And that's a winner right there. He's a winner.
He wears a chip on his shoulder, right?
Yeah.
That's just the way he does things.
I hope our guest from a couple weeks ago, Danielle McCartan from FAN, I hope she's right. I hope they could go all the way. I hope she's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, his father, played for the Knicks on a couple occasions, right? I think he played in like a few stints. I mean, it was all around the NBA, but I think that helps him too. Plus, his father is quote unquote coach with the team. I don't know, he's with them. I think that helps too. Keeps them in check.
I love that father-son dynamic because you can see his father like off the court when sometimes Jalen gets upset with a foul call, as he should sometimes, because sometimes he gets hit hard, 100%.
Yeah, we've gotten some BS calls in some games too.
But his father will just like look at him and they have that eye contact, like, stop complaining, just play.
Right.
That's just a father-son thing right there. So
I did like in that clip how his parents still go to Villanova games, even with
that's pretty cool
to watch, and they're Temple graduates.
Yeah.
I found that to be funny, so that's kind of cool. All right, Mike, let's jump. Our man Steve, he's got nothing to complain about right now. Yankees
5-0.
Juan Soto looks like the next Don Mattingly out there.
You said that, the Mattingly of 85.
He just looks like I watched him play, but of course you don't watch him as intently until they're on your team. You don't watch the amount of games that he played in until they're on your team. It's just the way it is. This guy, man, first of all, I knew he knew the strike zone, but that strike zone, he knows it like it's like he studied it for 100 years, right? Like he knows if that's a pitch is a ball or a strike instantaneously, and he goes and tells the ump, that's not a strike. And he's got all these gyrations and all this stuff that he does, and he's all pumped up back there. He's like Ricky Henderson and Reggie Jackson, like smashed together.
Yeah, that's
that kind of personality, right?
Good comparison.
Yeah. But I tell you, everyone's like, he's not that great of a fielder. I'm like, I don't know what they were looking at. I mean, this guy makes a lot of plays in the outfield. He's around the ball. He's got a great arm. But his ability at the plate is just unbelievable. I think he's got 5 walks already in the first 5 games, which, that's a pace of 162, which is, not that he's going to get there, but he's going to walk 100 times, essentially he's going to be a 300 hitter. I don't know what kind of power numbers he's going to put up in Yankee Stadium, but he can hit the ball out anywhere. It's just a lot of fun right now.
You know what it reminds me of? Him and then Judge. It's like a Winfield Mattingly type thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
That kind of combo and the power. And let's not forget last night, our young shortstop, Anthony Volpe, 4 for 4 last night. Damn.
He's 8 for 14. He's 8 for 14. He missed 1 game because he had a stomach bug. He probably ate bad oysters, He's from New Jersey, so he had some oysters. You know how it is.
He should have went out with us. We know where to.
He probably didn't go to Leo's. That was a problem.
He didn't go to Leo's.
But he's 8 for 14. He's hitting everything. Yeah. Cabrera, I think he's got 8 or 9 hits already. He's got like 7 RBI already. It's like
look where his batting order is. Like that's.
But you look at the guys, Glaber, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo. None of them are really hitting yet. None of them are hitting. So the guys that we need to hit aren't hitting. The guys that we think we're going to hit.
Exactly.
Right. So now, if we can get it all together, this team could continue to roll. It'd be nice. I was happy to see the starting pitching look good. Right. Not, it's not going to be phenomenal. You're not going to throw no hitters out there and all this stuff. But Stroman had a really strong start. Rodon had a really strong start. Cortez had a bad first inning in the opening day, but settled in, got us that win. These comeback wins early in the year. Beautiful to see. Something we didn't do at all last year, right?
Think about it. Listen, it's one series, first series, but you swept the Astros.
Right. Team that had our number for years.
So we got to celebrate the small victories, get that momentum, take the wins for what you can. But no one in their right minds thought the Yankees would sweep the Astros.
In Houston? Hell no.
No.
Hell no. Not a chance. It feels good. I know it's baseball. It's 5 games. It's April 2nd. I get it. But it feels good. We haven't felt, last year, I don't know if I felt this good at all last year at any point.
I don't think you were feeling good after game 2. No, I laugh because when Mike Francesa had his radio show, somebody called him up and he asked him, hey, what if a team could go 162-0?
How cranky did Mike get?
And he was all pissed off, like, what do you mean? 160? That's the stupidest thing. Not gonna happen.
Why even calling me?
Why would he even call and ask that question?
And he's like, he was the best. Without the callers, I don't have a show. Everyone that called him, why are you calling me?
Yeah. What's crazy though? On a side note, the Oakland A's, that franchise, right? They had at one of their games like 3,000 people. That's it.
So what about the kid Ruiz batting .429 with a 1 point something OPS? They sent him to AAA. They sent him down.
What's wrong?
It makes no sense.
No.
Like they should be investigated.
You know what they're like? They're like the movie Major League. They really are.
But how do you?
It's like they are the Cleveland Indians of the.
Where in any think about that? Where in any logic does it make sense to send down a guy that's batting over 400 with over a 1.0?
Well, what did they say? What was the logic? What was their reasoning?
He has to learn to get on base more and steal. Like, dude, like, no, makes no sense. Yeah. Supposedly, what I'm hearing is he wears a bracelet that supports this organization that attacks the ownership of the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, they're just looking to lose, and they don't want a guy up there that potentially can help them win.
Yeah.
3,000 people. We got 3,000 people down the block from us, Mike.
I know. We got 3,000 people listening to this show.
That's right, exactly.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, you got the local high school tennis game. 3,000 people.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. But you're right. 3,000 people listen to the show.
It is. It's like Major League. They should make the movie. They should make the movie, the Oakland A's.
We should go do the show from Oakland Stadium.
They'll let us. They'll be like, you guys will bring in people.
That's freaking hysterical. We're feeling good about the Yankees. We'll get Steve on, of course, sometime during the season. Talk about it. Yeah. We got to get our man Chris Mangano on. Talk some Rangers.
Yeah. What's up, Chris? Chris has been so busy.
Yeah, he's got a new kid, new wife. Oh no, same wife.
A couple of people want to say hello to who commented. I know who Michael H is, my buddy.
I'll throw it out here. Let's throw him out here.
Let's throw him in here.
Hi, Michael. Thank you. Yeah,
great guy. He was at the 100th episode.
Appreciate him.
Old poker friend. I'll talk old school Knicks anytime. So appreciate you.
I don't know who this is, Mystery Sauce, but
we appreciate you listening.
Send us some good sauce for our wings. We'll be happy.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening, Mystery Sauce, there on Twitch. That's a listener. Very nice.
That's awesome. That's nice to see.
We like to see we are stream on YouTube, we stream on Twitch, and we stream on Twitter. So it's good to see. I'm sorry, X, not Twitter. I gotta remember X. I don't want Elon Musk, to ban us from his platform.
Yeah, Vinny, I have to ask you this because people were asking me before the show because we haven't been on in a couple of weeks, so we haven't really talked about it. The Shohei Ohtani incident. And, Vin and I have discussed it back and forth. When it first happened, it was shocking. Vinny, I want to hear your perspective on it when you first heard, because obviously you get a lot of information. You're trying to pull everything together. What makes sense? What doesn't make sense? So what do you think?
So there's a few things that don't make sense to me in the whole situation, right? And I think anybody that has a bank account understands what happens when you make big deposits or big withdrawals. If you have, there's a lot of checks and balances with that, and approval process with that. Now, this is a guy, has a different lifestyle that probably doesn't look at his checking accounts and savings accounts. Maybe someone has power of attorney, which could have been his interpreter, as far as we know. So I'm not going to go down that road, but there is some red flags of why you don't know this amount of money is getting taken out of your account. That's the first thing on my side. I would want to know, why weren't you alerted of these withdrawals? It seems like it was multiple withdrawals. What bank do you do business with? How do they, all that. Those are questions. These are FBI, Major League Baseball questions that reporters are going to ask that they're not going to give answers to. But when the FBI and MLB shows up, you're going to have to answer those questions. That's the first thing. My question is to the interpreter, how did you get $4.5 million in credit? Why would a quote unquote illegal bookie give you that much credit? I don't know anyone that's making, I don't know, 250,000. I'll even say 500,000 a year that a illegal bookie would give them that much credit. I don't even know if a casino where you would go legally and you're a high roller, maybe gambling $1 million a year, would give you $4.5 million credit line. So how did he get that much of a credit line? Dealing with the bookie. Those are my questions and red flags to me. And then, of course, the third thing is the original statement that came out. Right, the original statement was, I was aware of my interpreter's issues, and I took care of him and paid off his debt. And then they just said, no, that came from the interpreter. That didn't come from Ohtani. So those are some of the questions that I have in the whole sort of. Now, can it all be true that he wasn't aware of it? I would lean in saying no. I mean, to me, there's just too much red flags here that there's somewhere that he had to know somewhere in this process. He's saying he didn't know until that Wednesday in the clubhouse when the story was going to come out on ESPN and all this stuff. That's when he found out. I don't know. I just can't see that being true. I just can't. I don't know. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we talked about this. The biggest thing is, I joke around with my bank account if there's if I take out more than $250 or if I get an alert, right? This was 4.5 million, right? So where's your checks and balances there? But I think the other thing that more aligned to a general concept is you're going to be hearing about this more and more and more because all of these sports now are sponsored by DraftKings or FanDuel or Fanatics or, so people are prone. And where do you draw the line, right? These guys, what are the specific rules for each league? Can they play in a fantasy team, right? Can they bet on other sports during when they're not playing, right? But there's so much sponsorship that it makes it so difficult. If you're being sponsored by this organization, right?
Yeah,
it makes it very difficult. Not to say you can't follow the rules, right? Because certain rules are put into place for a reason. But, 20, 30 years ago, you didn't have any of this, right? And you would have to actually go to a bookie where now you just do it on your do it by your fingertips, right?
Yeah. Well, the NFL, so I know so we had these discussions because the NFL had the Calvin Ridley incident and the Indianapolis Colts, the multiple guys incidents there, the kid out in Detroit, right, the receiver. So the NFL, there's no betting on the NFL, right? You don't bet on your own sport. If you're in any league facility, right, you are not allowed to make any bets on any sport. So that means you cannot pull out your phone and go to DraftKings and make $100 bet on the Yankees tonight, right? If you're sitting in a league facility. If you're home on your couch, you can make the legal bet, right? Because it's a legal bet. It's legal in the state you live in, so on and so forth. I look at it as the same way as probably alcohol at this point, right? You can't drink while you're at work, right? In your own house, you want to have a beer, you have a beer. You can't, you come in the locker room, you shouldn't be having a beer. You got to just set standards and you got to put it in place. Yes, the league is a lot of sponsorships from DraftKings and all that. But same thing with like Anheuser-Busch and Coors and all these other ones, right? They're sponsoring, but you can't do certain things around that stuff. So I look at it the same way. And you got to treat people like adults. You got to be an adult. Ultimately, if you're an adult, you make conscious efforts to make bets. When you're home, pick up the phone and call. Pat Mahomes calls Travis Kelce and goes, "Hey, we're going to put 1,000 on the Royals tonight because Andy's throwing out the first pitch." Okay, let's all do it. Do, right? And that's the way it should be done. Not this craziness of an illegal. I mean, I think if I'm correct, and I might be wrong, right? California doesn't have mobile betting. I don't think they have.
We were talking about that. I don't think they do.
Yeah, right. I don't know, but you're not supposed to be making any kind of bets with an illegal bookie. You're in California. Drive 1 hour. You're in Las Vegas. Betting capital world. That the interpreter could go there and make all the bets he wants. You could tell Shohei, I'm going to Vegas. I got to put some bets in. Okay, right. See you. Make sure you're back for the game or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's a strange situation, but you're right. We're going to continue to have these issues because
it's just out there.
Yeah, listen, it's like any addiction, right? People that have addictions are going to do it no matter what kind of setting they're in. So if they have a gambling addiction, they're going to bet on sports, potentially their own sport, right? So these organizations, every one of them, from the NFL to MLB, I know the UFC had a trainer that was involved in some stuff, so it's every sport, right? You got to have some checks and balances, and you got to figure out a way where it works. And if there's violations, and like we said, even if it's the minor little thing, if that's the rule that's in place, you have to put the smackdown on them. As much as Calvin Ridley's bet and everything seemed minor, it just didn't. It was outside the course of the rules, right? And they just need to continue to move in that way. But MLB cannot sweep this under the rug. I still haven't heard of any federal agency that they complain to that has picked up this case as far as any massive theft. I haven't heard anything yet. So if anyone would be involved, the FBI should be involved because it's a interstate bank theft, right? They should be involved. I haven't heard that his legal team or anyone has contacted the FBI about this. So, MLB needs to investigate that as well. And if there's any impropriety, it doesn't even matter if he didn't bet or did bet. If he's involved in it, they have to put some kind of disciplinary process in place. Because suspend him 80 games. If they find out that he was funneling money to him to bet on baseball, he needs to get the Pete Rose sentence. That's it. Done. See you, bud. You're out. Sorry. It's just the way it is.
Time will tell. We'll see. We went to this story. We didn't talk about our other New York baseball team, and then we'll get to March Madness. But, I got to say this. I sent Vinny a clip of this Mets fan, Frank, who's and this guy,
I couldn't understand a word he said. He was so aggravated.
I mean, we're 4 games into the season, and yes, the Mets are 0-4. But people who are throwing things and screaming, like, Vinny and I joke about this all the time. It's not like an NFL season where there's 17 games. You have 162 games. This is so minuscule, and obviously things could change very quickly. So. Just take a deep breath, Met fans. I understand, the hitting hasn't been there. The pitching hasn't been bad. It's just the hitting. They can't, they haven't been hitting. But it is so early on right now. See where you are at 40 games in the season, right? See where you are. But, to make fusses and people are like, oh, this team is done for the season, stop it. It's insane.
Listen, it's April 2nd. Like I said, as much as I'm excited about the Yankees, it's April 2nd. As much as people are that upset about the Mets, it's April 2nd. Now, I will say, I worry about them scoring only 8 runs in 4 games, right? Like you said, you worry about that because you want to see it. You want to lose. You want to be 0-4, but at least lose games like 9-8 early in the season. Don't lose like last night.
Well, there was one they lost 7-6, but yes, the majority of them they haven't scored.
Yeah, you just worry. You just worry about that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You worry that they didn't, they don't really have tremendous depth at pitching. It's like little things that you worry about. But this is not a team to be set up in 2024 to win the World Series. They're just not set up that way right now.
Right.
This is a team that's looking to get themselves in place for next year and bringing in some big players to go around the core that they're trying to develop there. But Brendan Nimmo, they gave this big contract to. He's not gotten off to a great start. But again, it's April 2nd. It's 4 games.
Yeah, let's talk in like a month about.
Let's see, where we are next week. Remember how many times I would say,
yes, I do last year. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they get on like a 4 or 5 game run or a 4 or 5 game losing streak. Yeah. Let's get, like you said, let's get to game 10. Let's get to game 20. Like I always say, I like to see where my team is on June 1st to give me some.
That's a good indicator. At least you got a couple months of statistics. You got 4 games. Come on.
You got 60 games in, right? You got
that's 40. A good statistic. You can see where you're trending.
Yeah. And if you're 30-30, you're like, all right, this team is not that great. If you're 20-40, you're like, oh my God, we're in big trouble. Yep. If you're 40-20, you're like, all right, here we go. That's let's get to June 1st and see where we are. Now, if you're 0-30 by May 1st, I get it, right? Then you can start packing your bags and say, see everybody in October. To start getting prepared for the Jets and Giants and whoever other team you're rooting for. But yeah, I wouldn't go crazy. I like the way Alvarez has been playing this year already. I think he's the real deal for them. He's a really, really solid catcher. Hits with a tremendous amount of power. He's just a good player. Marte has been hitting so far early in the season. That's good to see. You need Alonso to have a little bit of a bounce back season. He
will.
Not in terms of production, but overall hitting, right? As much as he hits his home runs, just want to see him have a little higher batting average, more situational runs and things like that.
The difficulty when you have Nimmo and Lindor, right? You're not going to be driving in runs because those two haven't been hitting anything. So once those guys start producing, I think he'll be in a much better situation. But again,
Lindor was the quietest 30-30 guy in baseball last year. Everyone's like, oh, he's not been doing great. He had a 30-30 year last year. It's like he was semi-productive last year. He has that potential of 40-40. I get it. Everyone looks at Acuna with the 40 home runs and the 70 stolen bases. They look at Judge with the 60 home runs. They look at Soto with the 500 on base percentage, but those are astronomical numbers, right? You gotta hope your guy produces what as they used to say, the back of your baseball card, right? You used to look at the back of the baseball card, and that used to give you what the guy's career numbers were, what his best year was, and that's what you always want to see, at the end of the year. So that's what you hope for. Yeah. So, all right, you want to just dabble into this tournament, or
quickly? Let's do it quick.
Let's talk real quick. Hey, let's do this real quick.
Go ahead.
Dabble into the tournament. We'll end with that real quick. Jets. 10th pick now. They made all these good free agent signings. They brought in Mike Williams, receiver. You got Tyron Smith. That's your offensive tackle. You got Hassan Reddick, pass rusher. You've done all these great free agent signings. Now, here we are, 10th pick. Are you taking Brock Bowers, tight end, Georgia, if he's there?
If he's there, yeah, you have to, right?
That's the guy, right?
You got to get him because you got to build up that OT.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, he's a phenomenal tight end. He would give Rodgers that nice security blanket when he can't find Garrett Wilson or Mike Williams or whoever else. He provides that extra blocking for Brees Hall. I think if he's sitting there at 10, you grab him. Now, if you're the Jets, I'm going to make you Joe Douglas right now. I am Denver at 12. I want to move up to 10. Are you trading with me? Would you trade down? Or are you going to sit there?
I will sit. I will take the risk.
You want to sit there at 10. You don't think trading down and then trying to get more picks in second round or next year does you well.
We're playing for this year.
That's it, yeah, you're right.
We have to.
So if you're going to trade down, you want to get more picks this year. You're not. You don't want no 2025 picks.
Yeah, there's also a guy who's out there too. Oregon State. What's his name? I think Talise Fuaga, who's supposed
to offensive tackle.
Yep. So I don't know.
There's the kid from Penn State that I like. He's got that.
Olu.
That guy, yeah.
Olu, yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And then J.C. Latham from Alabama. That I know. I know Joe Alt is going before the Jets pick. So I think if Alt or Bowers are there, you either get another offensive tackle, or you get the biggest tight end on the board. I think you go that way. I don't think any of those. I don't think Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. are dropping that far to get another receiver.
You gonna go to a Jet game with me this year?
Which game?
Whatever game.
September when it's like 72 degrees and sunny at 1 o'clock.
Those are the best. Do you remember I went to the Jets-Giants game last year and it was pouring rain? Yeah, and that's the game that Tommy DeVito made his debut, but they just had him. They didn't have him throw the ball at all. They just run. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life.
That was the game where they didn't run Saquon Barkley, right?
Yeah, they did not.
Right, and then they tried the field goal and they missed, and oh my God,
it was awful. So
I think the Giants are going to try to trade up for a quarterback.
You don't think they're on Jones, huh?
I think they're going to try to move out of 6, move up. They know they got one more. They got one more year left at Daniel Jones before they essentially release him because of the big cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
I move up, go take Drake May, go take J.J. McCarthy, go take Jaden Daniels, one of those 3 guys, wherever they move up to, and then be happy. Minnesota's still they traded for the other first-round pick. They're still going to package those 2 picks and try to jump everybody.
Mm.
They're in discussions with Chicago, Washington, New England. They're trying to get up in that top 3.
I know.
I would expect Chicago to still take Caleb Williams 1 overall, even though I don't know. I'm just a little skeptical of his crying and all this stuff that he does. I don't know. I want him to. Listen, you're gonna lose games in the NFL. You can't go jumping in the stands and cry to your mom about losing a game. You know what I mean? You gotta get a little NFL tough out there, Caleb. Got to take those losses. Ask Aaron Rodgers about it.
Oh, shut up.
You think the Jets, if they draft good, I'm not going to say great, good, in the current makeup of the team, can they win the AFC East? Can they beat the Bills and the Dolphins?
Why not? I think the Bills are declining. Miami had all those injuries. The Patriots are the Patriots. Why not? I mean, they should be right up there.
All right. Real quick, NCAA tournament. We liked Houston. He's got hurt. We knew at that point our pick was done. Houston played as best as they could. They still held Duke to only 50-something points in that game. I think if he stayed healthy, we'd be talking about them in the Final Four right now. But it is what it is. That's part of sports is injuries, right? That's how it goes. So,
that's right.
But we got the UConn men and women, and we got the NC State.
Yeah.
Both in the Final Four, and I think one of the two probably will win it all.
Yeah, I mean this.
You got to think the UConn men are favorite.
Yeah, they've dominated pretty much every game.
Yeah.
How about the last game when they make the 30-0 run? I mean, that's unheard of.
The game was 20.
Wait, can I say this? What Vinny texted me.
Yeah.
This is a great. This will be like the all-time greatest text.
Yeah.
Text me right before halftime.
Because 23-23.
He's like, "Wow, Illinois is really in this."
Yeah, I was surprised.
And to his credit, he was right. And then all of a sudden, I look at the score in the second half, and they're down by like.
I'm going to tell you what happened. It was 23-23. I texted you, right? I flipped on the Yankee game, and my son was playing MLB The Show 24. I was talking to him about it, and I flipped back the game. It was 53-23. They went on a 30-0 run. I thought there was something wrong with the score. Like I'm looking at the TV, and then I pull out my phone. I'm like, something's wrong. I'm like, how are you going at 30-0?
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it just happened so quick, like a switch.
I'm surprised you didn't say back to me. Yeah, nice.
I didn't want to do that to you. It spoke for itself.
I was like, holy cow.
I don't want to count out Purdue either. Zach Edey he's on a different level. You can't stop him.
No, I'm hoping we get UConn, Purdue, and on the women's side, I'm hoping we get South Carolina and Iowa. I think that's what we would need. Perfect way to end the both tournaments. Yeah. You get two number ones on both sides. You get the biggest names in both sports, right? Zach Edey's probably the biggest name in the men's side. We know Caitlin Clark's the biggest name on the women's side. Perfect. A lot of hype, big ratings for both tournaments. Yeah. It'd be a really cool way to end the season for them.
It'd be nice. I mean, the women's is on Friday night, and the men's is on Saturday, I think.
The Final Fours, right?
Yeah.
And then it's what, Sunday, Monday? The championship games?
Yeah. So the women's will be on Sunday, and then men's always on Monday.
Men's ends so much later than it used to.
Really?
I remember it ending like today.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I always felt like it ended the first Monday in April, but now I think they stretched the tournament out. It's gonna get stretched out even more if they go to, what do they want to go to? 96 teams?
Yeah, they do eventually. And I'll leave with this. I think overall the tournament always fun to watch. There's nothing like March Madness. I think the biggest disappointment in this tournament was the lack of Big East representation this year. That was hard to watch, right? And I think we talked about at the beginning that a couple teams I felt were really, they weren't there too. But listen, this is going to happen every year unless you keep increasing the teams, and then you'll get everyone that you want.
I mean, you had UConn, you had Marquette, and you had Creighton. They were all 1, 2, and 3 right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you had, I know what you're saying. You wanted to see St. John's in there.
St. John's
in there. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Providence too.
The other disappointing thing with college sports right now for me is this whole transfer portal stuff. I'm hearing there's already 10% of all NCAA men's players in the portal.
Yeah.
Division I. It's over like 700 young men that are already in the portal. I don't know if the women are probably different, but still, I mean, I get why they go in the portal, right? Like, you're going to get paid now to go to a different school, different sponsorships, all this stuff. But they gotta limit this stuff. You're losing. I don't know. You just lose those teams, right? You just lose. You lose. Next year UConn's gonna have 10 first round draft picks on their team.
Just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, there's something they got to figure something out.
Well,
competitive balance.
Let's hope for a great Final Four and, of course, a good final. And we're drawing to the close of this show, but this was a great one today. Someone was asking me, Danielle McCartan from WFAN was on a couple weeks ago, and someone asked, she was on a nice little segment. Will she be back? The answer is yes. We're going to try to get her in the summer for sure. So knowledgeable. I love her take on the Knicks. So positive on the Knicks, and just her sports knowledge is incredible. And we wish her all the success on that. If you don't know, she's a school teacher by day, and then she does the FAN show on the weekends. And we're just hoping all good things for her that eventually gets to full time, because she does it so well. And let's see if we're hoping that happens for her. So.
Yeah, and if I'm right, Mike, I think it's been a year or right on a year that Joy was on.
Yeah, Joy Taylor was on. So listen,
I remember she was on in April.
Yeah, as we said on the 100th, so proud of what we've done. Vin and I have to sit down at Leo's one night and talk about future guests, who we're going to have. We've had a lot of different obligations going on, but
yeah, we're going to build up. We got to get through this month, and then May comes in, and then the summer comes in. I think we're going to try to build up a good roster of people, just so people know how this works. And I'll explain it to them. We reach out to people, they get back to us, and when I say they get back to us, it could be a couple days, it could be a couple weeks. And then we have some discussions on when they're available, when we're available. And sometimes, here on April 2nd, we've made contact with someone and they won't be on the show to June or July.
Correct.
So it's not like we pick up the phone and someone's coming on because we have a million listeners, right? Yeah. Now, if we ever got to that point, you would see our ugly faces every day, and it'd be a whole different show. We'd have some guy called the producer. We'd have a makeup person. We have to look pretty.
Oh, man.
Get that shine off the top of my head here.
Oh, stop. No, we appreciate it. And then, like we said, we had the 100th episode about a month ago. That was amazing. Great thing. We got a lot of compliments on that live show.
We're gonna do so. We have some ideas for other live events. One was definitely surrounding the World Cup, as that's coming in next year, right? 25,
26.
Okay. Yeah, we have that. Anthony's got his Masters picks. Let's put
I love Anthony's Masters picks.
There we go. Here's what he's saying, everybody. Masters coming up. Picks will be available soon. All right.
I love his picks.
Maybe let's see. Maybe I don't know if we're gonna do a show next week because I'm in a plane a couple of days, but we can get maybe him on. Oh, he's on vacation this week. We should have had him come on today. Well, he doesn't even have his picks. He won't have them until next week. All right. You give us your picks.
We'll post them for him.
All right. You give us your picks. We'll post them. We'll do all that linking fun stuff. Maybe, we'll do something. We'll figure it out.
All right.
I forget that he's off this week, but then next week he's back on his things and all that. Yeah, whatever. But we'll get your picks up there, Anthony. We'll get them up. People like them.
Yeah.
You just can't pick Sam Burns for the Masters this year. All right. What else? Did I forget anything else?
No, I think we covered everything. Hours was quick, man.
All right. I'm excited. The draft's in a few weeks. I'm excited. Baseball's rolling. I'm excited with Knicks basketball. Like I said, Rangers hockey. We got to get a bunch of people on for that.
I can't wait to watch Knicks playoffs with you in New York. That's going to be the best.
We'll do a night and watch a game. We'll do Knicks Celtics with Matt Carl, Eastern Conference Finals for sure.
Mm.
Maybe we'll do a show with Matt. We'll make him come back on.
He has to come back on for sure.
Yeah, he'll just come on. He doesn't have to worry about getting crazy like he did last time. Oh yeah, Anthony's got the Tigers in the World Series as well, and they're 4-0.
Well,
He's very April 2nd happy.
here's someone who's April happy. There he is.
He's very April 2nd happy. He's got Tigers in the World Series and Tigers AL.
That stat up.
I think he's got Tigers AL Central as well. I think he bet Tigers across the board. So he's probably nervous that the Yankees are 5-0.
Like you said, after 60 games, we'll talk.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mike. Have a good week. I will.
See you next time, everybody.